Hey everyone, before this video begins, I just want to really quickly mention that Clancy the Clown will be coming to this channel this Friday at 6 p.m. You will get to watch the entire Clancy movie for free right here on this channel. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Okay, and Ian?
Hola.
Ian, you're going to be David.
With the release of Secret of the Mimic, Steelwool really showed that they have what it takes to craft an actual story. Usually in the FNAF lore, we only really get an order of events, and then the task of actually figuring out the story around it is just left up in our hands. This means that for a while, we didn't really know how good Scott Cawthon or Steelwool's writing actually was, because we were practically writing it for them, and due to the nature of the lore, never figuring out if it's correct. We never really knew whether or not the quality of the story we developed using their clues were actually greater or lower than the caliber of storytelling that they had themselves with those clues. But Secret of the Mimic and its almost layered version of storytelling meant that not only did we get a really good in-depth surface level story for anybody who is just playing the game and not looking at the deeper clues, but it was also just a genuinely good story with actually good characters and motivations. The characters seemed really fleshed out this time around, which is great considering we've spent all these years with a fucking serial killer antagonist who we still don't know the motive of yet. Steelwool finally successfully did what honestly every game franchise should do: allow for each installment to have their own self-contained story along with the wider franchise narrative. But all of this security breach story talk got me thinking back to the beautiful hot mess that is Security Breach. If Secret of the Mimic allowed for both bigger lore importance along with an original self-contained story, did Security Breach do the same? Or at least did it ever set out to do the same? Well, to answer that, let's look at none other than our main protagonist of Security Breach, Gregory. Over the years, the community has continued to characterize Gregory as this demon child. But when looking at the events and plans for Security Breach, is that really the case? Yeah, sure, he may have allegedly assaulted Monty, Roxanne, and Chica, but in reality, all Gregory's really doing is just destroying some of the property of an evil business corporation that is causing the death of literal tons of kids. Yet because these AIs in question have quirky personalities, that suddenly changes the fact that they're just programs? The only reason you give a shit about these characters is because they have a fresh coat of FNAF paint on them. Otherwise, they're just more fucking clankers. But oh no, Roxy's crying. Poor Roxy. Except AI can't fucking feel feelings or emotion. It is all logic based. Any emotion they have been programmed to feel is all an illusion. For any of y'all who don't know this or who are falling for it, y'all are the first ones to go whenever this fucking chat GPT apocalypse happens. I'm just saying. Okay, then what about the only other human in Security Breach, Vanessa? What does this quote-unquote demon child do to Vanessa? Well, he goes out of his way to save her. That's right, if we are to believe that the Princess Quest ending is the canon ending, then yeah, Gregory just straight up saves her life. This is honestly really interesting, and we will talk more about this later, because the act of Gregory going out of his way to play the Princess Quest games, beat them, and use that to save Vanessa, right off the bat you may perceive as just video game logic, but I think it's important to note that this is also canonically what his character does. It's really easy to ignore certain things, especially in the Steelwool games, as, oh, that's just game logic, oh, he just needs to do that so the game can progress. But none of this changes the fact that those character actions are still canonically what that character sets out to do. It's important to remember that gameplay is still story. In Secret of the Mimic, those puzzles Arnold do, he actually does. Gregory actually goes out of his way to save Vanessa, which his character consciously chooses to do 3 separate times. Gregory is by no means a bad person. In fact, the fact that he went out of his way to do some good in the middle of this horrible, dangerous night for him is what especially drives that fact home. But I know you may be thinking, what about all the murders he's committed? Murder schmurder, who cares? Okay, real talk, my boy was fucking mind controlled. He couldn't help himself. That was mimic glitch trap boogity boogity shenanigans. He wasn't in control during that. And even when he is in control, we see, like with the Escape the Pizzaplex interactive novel, sometimes the worst he is really just a dick. like he never even actually kills Cassie. Albeit Cassie does say that he is a bit of a prankster, but come on, he's fucking 12. Who isn't a little bit rambunctious when they're 12? It still doesn't take away from the point that he went out of his way to free Vanessa from Glitch Trap's control in Security Breach. I'm just saying. But Neo, Gregory dropped an elevator on Cassie. He dropped that shit. And don't get me started on this whole fucking blaming Gregory for the whole Cassie elevator drop shit during Ruin. I've said this probably a million times at this point, but just to get the point across, elevator is run using battery. Battery is left right where the Mimic is standing. The Mimic is already mimicking Gregory throughout the game. Mimic mimics Gregory, then uses battery to destroy elevator. Your Honor, I rest my...
Dragging my balls across shattered glass, and it hurt.
So this is kind of weird, right? I mean, there's no denying, as much as I do want to say Gregory is innocent and is a good kid, he definitely has his selfish moments throughout the games and just throughout the lore in general. He's without a doubt not a perfect character, but if this is the case, then why would he really go out of his way to save Vanessa? Well, to answer that, let's take a look back to Security Breach's cut content. And holy fuck is there a lot of it. Honestly, the only thing we'll be looking at is a few voice lines between Gregory and Freddy, and huge shout out to Not Real Name Not At All for pointing this out. Essentially, in the game files, we can find these lines.
Leave him alone!
Gregory, run! Do not look back! Do not watch!
Freddy! No!
Superstar, why do you hide?
This seems to be depicting just one of the many cut scenes from Security Breach, and in this one, we see Freddy possibly turning on Gregory. Now, I don't know about you guys, but as a storyteller, all of this audio really sounded like setup for a third act breakup. For those of y'all who are uneducated in the hero's journey, a third act breakup is usually when the protagonist is at his lowest of lows. And to convey this story-wise, the protagonist usually has to, whether by force or by choice, separate from his main group or friends that have assisted him throughout the journey. Puss in Boots running from his friends after encountering death. Rumi leaving her friends and retreating back to her master after it was revealed that she was half demon. Aang struggling to stay true to his pacifist nature when it's his job to kill Fire Lord Ozai. He proceeds to get kidnapped by a lion turtle, which, you know, as one does. Or maybe, just maybe, Gregory being forced to leave Freddy because he too has succumbed to the Glitch Trap virus.
Superstar.
But why would they have originally planned to give Gregory a third act breakup? You only really need those if your character is going through some sort of development. And well, although Security Breach's story may be a giant fucking hot mess, there is a very notable detail about Gregory's character by the end of the game.
Freddy, if I leave now, nothing will change, will it? There will be more disappearances.
Gregory, you're fucking 12. Walk your happy ass out of that murder mall. Missing children are not your responsibility. So after never at all batting an eye about it, Gregory now suddenly cares about all these missing children's incidences. And come to think of it, even though he does save Vanessa at the end, there is never anything in the story that alludes to the fact that he would want to do so. Yeah, he still does it, but it's never properly foreshadowed. Neither of these ideas are. It's almost as if Steelwool had the beginnings of a character, the ending of the character, but didn't have the middle. Gregory starting off as a somewhat selfish character, a bit of a dick, and although somewhat rightfully so, still a little bit too selfish.
They get what they deserve.
And as he continued the night with Freddy, he would begin to warm up to him, only leading up to Freddy being taken away from him, finally seeing a character that he genuinely loves and cares for going under that same glitch trap mind control that everybody else is, fully allowing his character, now that he's alone, to realize that it is not the fault of Vanessa or these animatronics that he is in this predicament. It is the fault of Glitch Trap, the fault of Fazbear Entertainment, and he wants to stop them. He wants to save them. After all, that's what the optimistic, kind-hearted Freddy would have wanted.
Your mother?
Hence why he goes out of his way to save Vanessa, hence the selflessness he shows by the end of the game, and hence a third act breakup that was cut due to time constraints and too much ambition. Gregory's character is not pure evil. He is not this demon child. He is merely a flawed character who Steelbull tried and failed to put through a proper character arc. A character arc that would have given Security Breach, just like Secret of the Mimic, an extra layered standalone story. Onions have layers. And so should FNAF storytelling. Therefore, FNAF storytelling is an onion. Hey everyone, I just want to really quickly say a huge thank you to all my Patreon supporters. And also, Clancy the Clown is coming to YouTube this Friday. Because this is YouTube, I did have to censor out a few things in Clancy, mainly the penis, but other than that, it's pretty much the exact same. Okay, bye.